About 50 years ago, I took a weaving class at Bishop Museum in Honolulu. It was on a backstrap loom, 2 rods holding several dozens of threads of even length, held taut because the rods were tied to a post at one end and around my waist at the other. The threads were of jute, a coarse kind of thick thread. A small stick or shuttle held more of that jute that went over and under the vertical threads in front of me, over and under, over and under. I thought this was pretty fun, and I ended up with a sampler of different weaving designs. Many years later, I took a class using a floor loom, where the movement of your feet determines which vertical threads go up and down, so the shuttle can pass over and under the many threads in front of you. I thought this was super fun and got really hooked on weaving. In 1985, I got a loom. No small investment for a craft that I was just learning about. Weaving became a hobby, something to do with my spare time if there was any. A career in running a kitchen shop and food writing occupied my daytime hours. When I moved to Waimea almost 20 years ago, I got really serious about this craft. Maybe it was the freedom of time, the quiet of the town, the misty afternoons conducive to being indoors, the fresh, clean air, and the warmth of the community that brought on a sense of calm and creativity. Today, I'm rather obsessed with weaving, a craft that occupies most of my daytime hours. I'm a hand weaver. I weave cloth. I have several looms, big and small. The backstrap loom I learned on and used around the world today is not one of them. I weave on a floor loom, actually 2 of them, where my feet move the vertical threads in a particular order while I throw a shuttle holding the weft thread. Throw your shuttle, beat the thread in, change your feet. Throw, beat, change your feet. That's my mantra as cloth develops on the loom inch by inch. I read weaving books and magazines. I travel to attend workshops and classes. I have learned different weave structures, how to weave with animal and plant fibers and even metal, how to make velvet, how to make damask cloth. I've figured out how to incorporate beads and bling into my cloth. I've learned about color and how the interlacement of colors can sometimes create muddy, ugly cloth. I learned about different looms, how they are all basically the same, designed to hold the warp threads in perfect order under tension so you can weave the cloth with the weft. I have a more than ample supply of threads or yarns. Weavers build yarn stashes. We're like kids in a candy store when entering a yarn store. Colors and textures call out, and you buy threads by the thousands of yards, not knowing exactly what you're going to do with them. What do I weave? Functional items that are hopefully beautiful. Silk scarves and shawls for cool Waimea days. Sometimes fabric for clothing, upholstery, or rugs. I'm probably best known for my dish towels. Yep, dish towels. Cotton ones that are soft and absorbent for drying dishes, pots, and pans. Cotton, linen, and silk are my favorite fibers. I like bright colors, defined lines, and shapes. And pretty soon I'm going to make something with wool. Wool from Big Island sheep, processed in Kukuihaile at the newly established Ohana Fiber Mill. And what do I do with all the stuff I weave? I have an annual sale just before Thanksgiving. I weave what I want to weave throughout the year, and if others happen to like what I weave, they can enjoy it. Weaving is a craft that requires a lot of patience and attention to detail. When you're managing several hundred fine threads for a project, each one threaded individually through an eye of a heddle, you kind of have to focus. A single thread out of place shows up in your cloth. A broken thread needs to be fixed. It's a daunting process, but I love setting up a loom and seeing all the threads parallel to each other and evenly tensioned. The weaving part, throwing a shuttle back and forth over and under the threads, gets a little bit boring for me. So I listen to books and music when I weave. I can weave 2 inches in an hour or 2 yards in an hour, depending on the project. As you weave and see cloth develop and grow before your eyes, it's quite magical. And when a project is complete, there's nothing like rolling off yards of cloth, feeling the drape and softness, and seeing its luster and pattern. The best part of weaving is the endless possibilities of interlacing colors and textures. For me, weaving is like cooking, my other passion. It's how you put together various ingredients to create something delicious or beautiful. Weaving's kind of a solitary craft. It's not like knitting or crocheting, where you can take your project in a bag and sit with friends and chat and do your craft. One of my looms is 4 feet wide by 7 feet long by 6 feet high. Kind of hard to move around. In fact, I never move it. There are smaller looms, to be sure, portable and for specific weaving purposes. Fortunately, here on the Big Island, there is a community of weavers who gather regularly to share our latest projects and learn from each other. The Big Island chapter of the Hawai'i Handweavers Hui is part of a statewide organization that fosters the activities of weavers, spinners, dyers, and fiber artists through education and camaraderie. When I'm not weaving in Waimea, I'm traveling on textile tours. Places like Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Japan, Sweden, Morocco. Each of these have opened my eyes to weaving traditions that date back thousands of years. On these tours, the opportunity to interact with weavers in their homes and villages provide lots of fascinating cultural learning. And everywhere I travel, I'm on the lookout for interesting designs and patterns on floors, in windows, on doors, and in cloth that I can imitate onto my woven cloth. Spinning thread by hand from plants and animals and weaving those threads into cloth has been going on for thousands of years. It was a craft born of necessity to make clothing and household items like towels, sheets, rugs, curtains. These are things we buy today, already made without a second thought. Weaving and spinning played an important role in the Industrial Revolution of the 19th century. In fact, here's a tidbit about weaving. In the early 19th century, a man by the name of Jacquard developed a loom that enables complex patterns to be woven. The patterns are recorded on punch cards. The Jacquard loom that's still used today around the world is based on a binomial system, the precursor of today's computer technology. And another bit of trivia. Next time you put on your pair of jeans, take a look at the small diagonal lines in the cloth. It's a twill pattern. It's a pattern I weave all the time, over 2, under 2. All denim is this twill pattern, fine machine-spun threads of blue and white that originated in the French city of Nimes. Sadly, hand weaving is slowly becoming a lost art. The community of weavers worldwide is not a big one, and we're getting older. We're always on the search for the next generation of weavers. I've taught many of the weavers here on the Big Island. In the last few years, I've been teaching people to weave at the Hawai'i Handweavers Hui studio in Honolulu. It brings me great joy to see that aha moment when weavers explore the interlacement of threads for the first time, when they understand how a loom works, and can see the endless possibilities of weaving cloth. Sharing it with others will hopefully keep my craft alive for generations to come. I'm Joan Namkoong, and I weave in Waimea.